Okay, so this is the next one. I'm just going to have fun and throw whatever is going on. Kind of come in for some detail stuff. Now, I'm going to leave this unfinished so I could do a demonstration on that and do some drop shadows so it looks like it's 3D. And a lot of my themes have a rainbow thing, like I have a giant rainbow sculpture in my living room, and I have one of butterflies going up the stairs. So right now, all I'm going to be doing is just pulling out a little color here. So just giving it a roundness. It's just a damp brush, not wet. I still don't know what's going to happen with this. It just writing down concepts. I have kind of a theme in my head. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll look the same. And I'll be starting adding detail to this. I'm not going to do all of them, but just give you a little heads up of the processes. Will have layers and layers eventually. So okay, this is a preliminary drawing. These are going to be cactus with spikes and seahorses wrapping themselves around. This is a sea dragon. Kind of got the basic foundation on there. And I thought, well, sea dragon. Well, let's make it a fire-breathing dragon. So I got this thing coming out. And I don't know if you can see this, but let's see. Right now I'm just trying to pull out a little bit of white from the center part. And I'm going to blend this out a little bit. And these are the things that's like, may work, may not. I like the light transition right there. Pulling out a little highlight there. Giving it like a smoky type look. Blending. I like some of this bleed off right in there. I may lighten this edge up some. Now this is one of those things you just, hope it works out. You're never sure. It's not like a done deal. It's like just taking a chance. And this is that thrilling part that I talk about. It's like, if I mess it up, I got to figure out how to make it work. Or try to work around it, or try to just, if it gets too bad, then, it's like, all this is in vain. Of course, this is the Cuttlefish. I don't know if I explained that already, but it's going through a rainbow transition, and I thought, what better creature to do a rainbow transition than a Cuttlefish? So it's got some little, hints of orange there as it transfers into the orange. Then there's a hints of the yellow going into the yellow, and then there's kind of going to be a greenish tint here, and then so on and so on. This again, this is the foundation for the Sea Dragon. There's going to still be a lot of layers and pulling out highlights, and then it has like a lot of little white dots all over this, which will take a long time, so I can't really show that thing, but just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, this is a little bit of a long shot, but I'm going to come into the scene a little bit more. Went into the Cuttlefish. Maybe I'll get a little closer. And they're about 80% done. I'll still go in there and add some detail. Definitely need a lot more detail. I'm going to probably do a demonstration on this. There's my sea dragon. I'm going to probably do another sea dragon, a different species. And its related cousins. Now, of course, these will be hugging spikes, these seahorses. I don't know if I'm going to put any more or change things around, but anyway, so that's kind of the idea. Now I'm going to probably do a slight little demonstration of how this is done. Okay, so I'm just looking for little areas right now. Oops, a little bit more paint. Now I do it in little sections. And I'll explain how I did the other ones. I'm just giving you a little quick little foundation on how I do these seahorse. And this is all done in layers. I'm going to go switch up to a smaller brush. Okay, so I'm just kind of just doing some little tiny there may be some bleed in, but that's okay. I like when that happens. It does give it a little unique form. And they have a lot of little spikes on the edges. Now, it is detailed, but it isn't super scientific. I'm just painting whatever I want now and having fun, which is something I've always wanted to do in the first place. I do and did love teaching, sharing my techniques and abilities, and I love history, so my classes were actually more of a a scientific history, biology class than and part art, because I used to try to explain everything in life, giving them a well-rounded view of the world, ideas, make them think on their own, trying to make things informative and fun. Anyway, so that's the way I taught. And like I said, I've taught all levels from kindergarten to college. Well, let me just explain this a little bit more. Okay, so like I said, this is in layers and it's been going on and on. You can see there's some white coming through as you see it up here. And then coming in and blending things back and forth, little areas here, you know, blend, 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 blend. And the blending is what makes things have a volume or form. And then when the last part is just adding little bits of white on overlapping things. Now the white will have to have on, you know, many different layers, because it comes on strong, and then as time goes on, it just fades out. So it's like layers and layers and layers to get it a little bit brighter, a little bit brighter. So when you first put it on, it gives you a glimpse of what you would want, and then you need to definitely go back in. So in other words, this sea dragon is the white has several layers, but they're still not bright enough for me. So I'll put on another few more layers. And it's not going to be every single one of them, because I'm going to want highlights here. So these will be brighter, and then it's going to like fold in. So these are going to be in shadow, so they're not going to have as many layers. These are kind of on the outside, so they'll have multiple layers still on top of each other. Okay, so that's going to give you a basic idea of how this is going to work. So I'm just going to leave some little white areas, and those will be blended out later. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that right now, there's a little bit more detail in those. So it's not just one color. They have like a little textures on them, on the leaves. And after everything is in layers and I kind of like where it's going, I will go back in and add a little bit more layers of texture to give it a little bit more life. I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. It's just kind of showing you the way I would do things. So by touching it, well, it's still wet, it gives a nice So when I come back into this, I will have multiple layers, and these extreme whites will be blended. So it does have a little highlight like some of these, but this here, where it kind of gets lighter down here, started off like this. So like I said, it's just layers upon layers and blending. And then studying what I've done to make, so this is kind of what, this is more in shadow, so it'll kind of, I'm going to also bring out little highlights on the insect just to give it a little bit more roundness. So what I'll do is, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull out some color slowly. Now, just by doing a little bit of pulling out the color, you can see it's a little bit brighter and pops out a little bit more than this other side. And then I'll go in with some little bits of white just to punch it up some. Not too much. If it gets too bright or unnatural looking, I will just go over it again and tone it down. Anyway. Okay, so I'm kind of close to finishing the cactus. Need some more layers, maybe some more white layers to give it that cactus look. Okay, so I'm using reference from my house. These are called dish plate hibiscus. They're really large. They only last one day. They bloom and then they're done. Now, I'm going to show you how big these things are. So they are gigantic, but really interesting. So you can see the reference I'm using for one of my paintings. Okay, so yeah, I'm not kidding about the dish plate hibiscus. Hello, I'm Steve Melendrez, a model maker, illustrator, scientific illustrator, sculptor, design natural history museum in Los Angeles. Done a lot of different things, but I'm going to be doing watercolor demonstrations of the techniques I've developed over the years. And it's going to go from a lot of different directions. And also I'm going to be doing videos, I call them video posters for my daughter. So a lot of stuff that I can leave to my daughter about her crazy dad. So I'm taking a lot of different directions, but mainly three. So anyway, that's my introduction that I'm going to attach to everything I'm doing now so I don't have to repeat this. Be careful out there.